There's clearly a ton of fraud and abuse in the food stamp program. Some people can't even imagine life without food stamps. Now, speaking of families, there's a video going viral. Actually, a number of videos going viral. As the government shutdown continues on, there are finally some cuts to food stamps, EBT, the SNAP program. And you're seeing people. I mean, there was one woman, I think she was 65. She said she's been on food stamps for 30 years, and she looked fine. She looked able-bodied. These are not programs that, generally speaking, you're supposed to be on for decades at a time. They're supposed to get you through tough spots. For some people who are severely disabled, it might be a longer-term deal for them. But there's clearly a ton of fraud and abuse in the food stamp program, and it's clearly driving up the cost of groceries for everybody else. Some people can't even imagine life without food stamps, as these who have gone viral.
Ever been to the food bank before?
No, we never have.
This is your first time here.
Correct.
Are you scared?
Well, highly afraid because, we didn't ask for these kids to come, and what are we going to do with them? Then we have them. We have to take care of them. We have to find a way, and it's hard right now with everything that's going on. People are even afraid to come out of their houses to work. It's really bad. And especially with everything going on with the president saying that we have to hang in there, how are we going to hang in there with the kids? There's no way at all.
And Thanksgiving coming up.
Especially imagine the people. It's not fair for anybody.
What is your message right now to the federal government?
What can we say? It's unfair.
Did you catch the line? I actually do feel for this woman. I know most conservatives are not they're gonna say, "Are you kidding me?" But I feel for her. I feel for her. She's clearly not the sharpest tool in the shed, is confused about a lot of things, but there's one line in particular that really gets her. She said, "We didn't ask for these kids." Do we need to go back to 7th grade biology class? You didn't ask for these kids? We didn't ask for these kids? Not only did you ask for these kids through a specific action that you undertook, but living in our contraceptive culture, the fact that you didn't use artificial contraception, which I'm not recommending, by the way, I'm not in any way encouraging artificial contraception, but the fact that you presumably did not use that means that you asked for the kids twice. You did the thing, and then you didn't use the thing that sometimes goes with the thing that can stop the consequence of the thing. Text Knowles, KNWLES, to 989898. You might have been reading in the news that gold hit $4,000 an ounce for the first time ever, and gold is currently up 50% for the year. And as I may have mentioned, I'm a little bit of a gold bug, and so I'm feeling great about that. If a portion of your savings is not diversified into gold, you're missing the boat. Here are the facts. Inflation is still too high, the US dollar is still too weak, and the government debt is insurmountable. This is why central banks are flocking to gold. They're the ones driving prices up to record highs, but it's not too late to buy gold from Birch Gold Group and get in the door now. Birch Gold will help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. You don't pay a dime out of pocket. You just text Knowles, KNWLES, to 989898. Claim your free info kit. No obligation, just useful information. Best indicator of the future is the past, and gold has historically been a safe haven for millennia. What else can say that? Can some random crypto thing say that? I don't think so. Text Knowles, KNWLES, to 989898 right now to claim your free info kit on gold. That's Knowles, KNWLES, to 989898. Protect your future today with Birch Gold. There's one person at the beginning of that video said he'd never been to a food bank. He just was on the government cheese, didn't even think of availing himself of other charitable resources. So one, this is evidence that even in charity to these people who, maybe aren't totally with it and aren't the most resourceful, and, that exists in society. The poor will always be with you, and so you have to take care of them. But if you do legitimately have charity for them, it's not always good to just stick them on EBT, because that can crowd out other resources like the church, like private charities. It can get them hooked on these programs to the point that they don't even know how to go to a food bank, much less go out and find gainful employment. And also, though, and this is going to be the controversial part, this is the consequence of contraception. This is the consequence of a contraceptive culture. You will say, well, Michael, it sure seems like she wasn't using contraception. No. This is the consequence of a contraceptive culture, a culture in which condoms and the birth control pill are normalized and even encouraged in our schools, going all the way down to 6th grade, 5th grade in some cases. Because just the introduction of that and the normalization of contraception in our culture divorces in the public imagination sex from procreation. It says that there's not necessarily a link between those things. In the old way of thinking, we used to say love and marriage, go together like a horse and carriage. And what happens after the horse and carriage? The baby carriage. That's in the second verse of the song. There's a connection between love, marriage, and the baby carriage. Now we divorce all three of those things. And our birth rate problem comes from contraception. Our mass migration problem in many ways comes from contraception because we don't have an above replacement birth rate. And so we're told that we have to import the third world because it's the only way to keep our population up and our GDP up. A lot of problems come from this. And I know the right is going to be largely unified when I say abortion is bad. I know the right is going to be a little more fractious when I say that IVF is bad because it, practically speaking, entails abortion and for other reasons too. But when I say contraception is bad and we should discourage it, and it actually was illegal or at least heavily limited until Supreme Court rulings in the 1960s and 70s invented some constitutional right to condoms. And when I say that, that's when I'm going too far. That's when I'm a knuckle-dragging theocratic troglodyte. That's where, hey, Mike, you got to cool it. I'm just telling you facts. When a woman says, hey, we didn't ask for these kids, she is expressing an intuition that we're all at least pretending, which is that sex does not necessarily entail procreation. That was a good clip. Now stop, ring the bell, subscribe. We'll see you next time.